Hey out there, it's Cece Kamor, and I'm so glad you're here. I've already started laughing because I'm with one of my favorite people in the world. This is my best friend.
Hi, I'm Mimi.
So we're Cece.
And Mimi.
Cece
and Mimi. Hey.
And we just wanted to come on here and have a conversation. Just tell you all a little bit about our backgrounds and just how we met, because if you follow my channel, or even if this is your first time watching, then you may know, or maybe not, that I was initially going to be a journalist and follow a path in journalism. And so that's actually how we met.
Yep. We actually met 18 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and our TV production class, we both was interested in journalism. We wanted to be the next Oprah, you know.
I still do.
Yeah, okay. Listen, I'm not having her money, all right?
Listen.
But we actually met in our television production class, and we just clicked when we met, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah. So we were 16.
Yeah.
Going into the 11th grade, and it
was summertime. So it was crazy because the first week that we had our television production class during the summer, I actually needed a ride. Unfortunately, I didn't have a car at the time, but I did get one like a couple months later. But I didn't have a car at the time. But Candace, Cece Kamor.
That's what she do be
right.
Cece.
Right. I didn't have a car at the time, but Cece Kamor did. So she actually gave me a ride to where I needed to go. And from that moment, we built a friendship that's lasted, from high school to college to grad school to our professional careers, which neither one of us are in journalism now, but we're still friends. So even though we didn't work in journalism, but journalism kind of brought us together.
It did.
And,
okay, you said that.
Yeah.
That was really good. Yeah. Because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But I think, too, even though we didn't go into journalism, like you said, it's still very much a part of what I love to do. I think we both could have done it.
Yeah, definitely.
I always laugh because, we did TV production in class, which Mashawn had to remind me what we used to say when we went back. Go ahead, do it.
This is Mashawn Jackson reporting live, and back to you guys in the booth.
Yeah, because we actually used to be at basketball games, football games,
all sporting events. We actually did some track.
We did.
So and the crazy thing is, before us, I don't remember Channel 47 doing maybe all sporting events for our high school. I remember football and basketball.
Yeah,
but actually when we came in on board in 11th grade, they wanted to expand and do a little bit more. So we did I think we did a baseball game one time. We did track meet.
That's right.
So we
did graduations too.
Yeah, we did graduations.
Do interviews.
Yeah. But and the great thing about the TV production class, not only do you get the experience of being on air talent, but you also get the experience of working behind the camera.
Exactly.
You get the experience of doing production or being a producer and being a director.
True.
So
we learned every part.
Editing. Every part.
We really could have, if we wanted to, gone into a TV studio and been fired. Because then the other thing too is that's what we majored in college too.
Yeah.
So we were on the path of becoming journalists. We both had internships at television stations.
Yeah.
I know I had my junior year. What did you have?
My junior year.
Yep.
Junior
and so
college.
We were at two different stations, reputable stations.
Yeah.
And we chose different paths.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, it's just where we were at the time. And like you said, I mean, it definitely served a purpose because here we both had, it brought us together.
Yeah.
I think it taught us a lot about valuing news, knowing what is newsworthy. I mean, we learned a lot.
Yeah, just to put packages together from start to finish, because not only was the class reporting at sporting events, we actually had to put packages together from start to finish. We had to go and find stories.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And put them together from start to finish, write scripts and, the editing piece of it.
Exactly.
So it was definitely intense. And like you said, it definitely taught us. Like you said, when we graduated high school, we could have very easily gone into any newsroom,
Absolutely.
any, industry and, did our thing. But like you said, we chose to do different things. And I think, that just goes to show you guys that are watching that you may have like a plan. This is what I want to do in my life. I want to be a doctor, lawyer, teacher, but sometimes things doesn't work out the way that you think your 16-year-old self wants it to be. And that's kind of what happened for us. We both wanted to be journalists.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out that way for us. We chose different paths, but we're still super happy with what we decided to do.
Yeah. And I mean, I know for me, like the journalism bug is still in me a bit, but absolutely, I think, and I'm going to call her my friend, y'all, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Like, this is my friend. So I think you're exactly right, though, my friend. Like, we chose different paths, and yet we're still finding fulfillment in them or getting there.
Right.
So, so why didn't you choose journalism? Like, wow.
So for me, I had an internship. I actually had two in college, and I'll never forget. I was at the news desk, and so if you're not familiar with a newsroom, there's a news desk, and there's a phone there, and there's also a police scanner, and you can hear all the calls that come through. And you might have your news director behind you or walking, they kind of like listen to see, oh, should we send a crew out there? So at the station I worked with, they wanted us to be able to get all facets of the station, meaning I worked the early morning station. Early morning, I had to be there at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I worked the midday. I worked overnights. This particular day was overnight, and the scanners came on, and there was a shooting that was not too far from the news station. So the news director at the time was like, "Hey, so and so, you guys head out there," and he was like, "Hey, Mimi, you go with them." I was like, "A shooting? Like, do I really want to go?" I was like, "Okay." So, like I said, the shooting was right down the street from the news station. So we actually got there a little bit before the police officers did. And unfortunately, the person who got shot did not survive. So I don't handle death well. So to see a lifeless, body, that just messed me all up. Like, I was like, and here I am, a junior in college. I'm like, it's too late to change my major. Like, what am I going to do? Because that really, messed me up. I was like, I don't think I could do this. So I decided to, instead of changing my major completely, I decided to do the PR track. So that's why I decided to change my mind off that one experience. Sometimes I wish I would have just stayed with it because, that one experience, like, maybe it shouldn't have defined me changing my mind. But at the time, my 20-year-old self, I was like, nah, I don't want any parts of this. So I went the PR track.
It's so funny because I think we're both kind of similar in the amount of emotion that we can handle, because I was like, my reason for not choosing journalism was a courtroom appearance of a young man who killed his girlfriend. So it was kind of like the same thing. Like my emotions were tied up in it. And you realize as a journalist, you are there to tell the story. You're not there to necessarily console the family, although there are some journalists that do that. But that's not your main purpose. Your main purpose is to tell the story and what happened. And I just think it's funny how we both, both of us went into these experiences and we were open, and yet, I mean, the reality of it just kind of changed our directions. But I agree with you. I don't think that's all that news has to offer. You're right. There are so many different paths that you could take with it. And I think sometimes too, like, well, what would have happened if I just stuck with it? But you're right. The other thing I don't think a lot of people realize about journalism and communications is that there are different routes you can take. So, I mean, PR is definitely very much I was going to say a lucrative route. It can be.
Yeah, very, very much so.
But definitely a rewarding route. So, so I mean, that's what we've been doing. Basically, both of us have been in some form of PR, just in different industries. And even if we haven't necessarily done that throughout our career, we've applied our PR skills or our journalism skills to the jobs that we've been in.
Yeah.
So, so that's basically our experience with journalism, how we met. And I also wanted this video to be about too, for the young women that are watching. I mean, here we are not ashamed to say our age at this point. How old are we, my friend?
I'm a whole 35 out here in these streets, okay? And 35 and looking good, okay?
Hey,
right?
Okay. So yes, we are both 35, and I definitely think as we look forward, as we look backward, I just want to make sure that anyone who's watching, that this is a contribution to you. So I asked my friends to think about 2 questions, and I'm going to throw a third one on there too. So we can both talk about just our experiences as younger women. And the third one is going to be a surprise to her. But the first question is, you're 35 years old right now, what would you tell your 25-year-old? Like, what's something that you wish your 25-year-old self knew? Or what would you tell your 25-year-old self?
One thing that I would tell actually a few things that I would tell my 25-year-old self. But one thing that sticks out is I would say, sis, leave them. Like, leave them alone. Because I was in a relationship at 25, and if I knew half of what I know now, then, like I would have chucked deuces. So, yeah, I would have definitely told myself, leave them alone. Another thing, for me, anyone who knows me knows that I kind of had my plan of my life planned out to the T. Like, by the time I graduated college, I wanted to be like engaged and married and have kids by the time I'm 30. Mind you, I'm 35. I'm single and no kids. So if you're between 35 and 40, no kids, gentlemen, call me.
Hello.
But I had this plan for my life. So what I would tell my 25-year-old self is, just go with the flow. Like, enjoy life, go with the flow, and don't be too focused and set on this plan. Just like I think I talked about a few minutes ago, having a plan B and a plan C when it came to journalism, because I didn't choose that route. So it's okay to have a plan, A, and you work towards that, but you don't have to be so focused on plan A. Also have plan B and C just in case some things don't like work out the way that you want in your plan A. So yeah, I would definitely tell my 25-year-old self to just like enjoy life, like have fun, like don't be so focused on the husband, the kids, like, because that's gonna come. I'm 35 and still not here, but it's coming, So I would definitely tell myself, just go with the flow and enjoy life.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I agree with you on several points. Several points. Sis, leave them alone.
Yeah.
Is a good one.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too. I was thinking, okay, because of course we were thinking about doing this video. But I was thinking, I said, one of the parts about being best friends so long too is, best friend is really a metaphor for we know each other's dirt.
Yeah.
So I know your dirt.
Well, I don't have that much dirt.
You might not have
so now I'm joking.
but you know my stuff.
Yeah.
I know your stuff.
Yeah.
I know what you have been through. What I've been through. And so we just gonna leave it at that. But
leave them alone. So if you're 25 and you're out there, you're questioning, you're like, listen, should I? He's not doing this and he's not making me happy. Listen, sis, leave him alone, okay?
All right. You heard it, sis. And I would say almost align with that, but a little probably more applicable to other areas of my life too, that at 25, I would tell myself, you're worth more than you realize.
That's
because
like
that would have set the tone for even things that I'm trying to get myself to understand now that I didn't realize then.
Right.
And I'm saying, if you knew then that you were worth so much more than you realized, there's a lot you wouldn't have settled for that you did. Whether that was, like you said, related to relationships or work or, jobs or just things that I allowed myself to do that I didn't I guess I just didn't have to go
Mhm.
through. Well, maybe I did. That's why,
Mhm.
it makes you better in the
Yeah.
long run. But I would have not been, I wouldn't have, I just wouldn't have just dealt with, I think, some things that I realized I didn't need to.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would say I work more than I realized.
It's so funny that you said it because I actually saw a shirt the other day that I said I'm going to get. It actually, it says "Know Your Worth" and it add tax.
Woo!
So, listen, my
Hey!
22, my 20,
I like that. Woo!
Yeah.
I like that, my friend.
Yeah,
Yes.
so listen, when I
Woo!
get me one, I'm gonna get you one too. Because
Please.
even though we didn't tell our 25-year-old self
We
that
35.
we 35,
Hello.
and we can still tell our 35-year-old self that, because knowing your worth, listen, we talk about that all the time. It's so important. And how many people in this world don't know their worth? Like, you know, so know your worth,
so
and then add tax. So
it's funny you say that too. I love that. And I heard a story too about it was a hypothetical story, but it was a good one, about a man who went into a furniture store and he was trying to negotiate with the woman for the price of a table. She told him one price. He kept trying to talk her down. And she said, you know what, since you keep trying to talk me down, the price just went up.
Okay, I like it. I like
we put the price up on this table.
Yes.
Because you keep trying to talk me down, but it's worth more than you
realize.
I didn't even put, what? I won't even go share that stuff. But it goes with what we're talking about. I love that though, my friend. Okay, so that's your 25-year-old self. What would you tell your 15-year-old self?
So my 15-year-old self, I actually had to think about that a little more, because it is 20 years ago. So I did think about where I was 20 years ago. And I was like a freshman going into my sophomore year in high school. And I dealt with like some body, like image issues, which a lot of people didn't realize, because I've always been like super confident, right?
She has.
But at 15, I was just like, man, like, I don't know what it was. So it's crazy that we were talking about the work piece, because that's what I would tell my 15-year-old self. Like, you're worth so much more. Like, you are loved, you are beautiful, you are smart. Like, all those positive affirmations, I would just tell my 15-year-old self that, and like stress it to her. So that way, like, she knows, that she's worth more, she's valuable, she's loved. And she's appreciated, So yeah, those are a few things that I would tell my 15-year-old self.
So you think that 15-year-old girl didn't know that, or she didn't know as much as she needed to know?
I think that 15-year-old girl confused self-confidence and self-worth. So
girl, you better stop. That was good.
Yeah. There's a difference between the two, self-worth and self-confidence. So that 15-year-old self, and even my 25 and 35-year-old self, extremely confident, however, it wasn't until like recently, honestly, that I started to, realize my worth. So I really feel like that 15-year-old self, if I could have gotten her to realize her worth at that point, then some of the lessons that I had to learn the hard way, maybe I wouldn't have to learn them as hard, if she realized her worth and then added tax at 15.
Add that tax.
Yeah. Okay.
How much we going to? 20?
Yeah.
How much?
50%.
About 50% tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still want to ask some more questions too.
Okay.
But I feel like this is going to keep going, but I also want to know too, what was it that allowed you to know your worth then? Like, how did you end up getting to that point where you realized, okay, I'm worth more?
So for me, honestly, like, I've been on a journey for complete health, right? Physical, mental, spiritual, financially, like, I want to be healthy in every way. So about a year ago, I took my physical health into my hands. I started working out, started eating better, and I got a little snatched out here. My double chin is gone. So in doing that physical piece, I realized how important my mental health was. So I decided to go to therapy. And it was not until I started going to therapy, honestly, that I realized, my worth. And it's sad. I'm not even going to say it's sad, because I want to be able to help somebody else. So whoever else, they don't have to wait until they're in their 30s to realize their worth. But for me, it was because I started going into therapy and I started to unpack some things that definitely brought to my attention my self-worth, how I felt about myself and what I was willing to tolerate and put up with. It was because I didn't think I was worthy. So whether it was past relationships that I stayed in way too long than I should have, that was because of my self-worth. You can expect someone to treat you a certain way and you stay there and they continue to treat you that way, because you don't know your worth, so they're gonna keep treating you like
you showing them that you are, like you're showing them,
right?
Like we teach people how to treat us. People only give us our value as much as we make them value us.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that, because I was having a conversation with another friend of mine, and she was just talking about how habits form early. So even if it's a friendship, if it's a relationship, whatever type of ship it is, you have to teach people how to treat you, and it's never too early to break habits. I don't care if we've been friends for a week, a couple of days, or whatever, but if something happens and you make me feel a certain type of way, or vice versa, like habits form early. So you have to nip that in the bud, because you have to teach people how to treat you. So for me, go back to your question, for me, it was therapy that helped me to, realize my worth. So
what would you then say, okay, to the 15-year-old girl, how does she start to develop those habits now then?
Definitely like the words of affirmation, So I'm reading this book, and it talks about your adult self. It talks about your like your adolescent child and or your outer child, and it talks about your inner child. So in this particular book, they have different exercises, and you actually talk to your outer child, which your outer child is the part of your personality that acts out, the part of your personality who is like, attention seeking. They do things when they're hurt. That's your outer child. So the book is just trying to tame that outer child and to be more present in your adult, life. So my 15-year-old self, I would just tell her, those words of affirmation. Do some of the exercises that I've learned in therapy and in reading that book. I would do that with and tell her those things.
Right. And I guess too, even if you're not like 15, I guess at any point in your life, affirmations are always good.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Like I didn't do affirmations for a long time either. And I'm still trying to learn how to affirm myself. See, a lot of times we wait for other people to affirm us.
Yeah.
And it's not about other people affirming us. I mean, we're believers. So, the other thing is too, God tells us things that we would affirm ourselves with. But outside of that, you just got to know that you bad, sis, like on your own.
That's it.
Why are we waiting for other people to give us affirmation? And I've been bad about that too. Sought affirmation from other people before I gave it to myself. And that's when we set ourselves up. Because the same people that are affirming us one day, the same people going to be tearing us down another day.
Or the same day.
Or
don't even have to be the next day. They can affirm us 1 hour. The next hour they tearing us down.
Can we say minutes?
Oh, minutes, okay?
And the sad part, my friend, is they may not even do it in our faces. Yep. And that's, kind of going back to the question. If I were to tell my 15-year-old self something, it would be basically don't try so hard. Because I feel like I was working so hard, not just for people to like me, but I was just working hard. And it just you shouldn't be working that hard. Like people always say too, they'll say, well, that's a strength. And I don't necessarily, I'm not saying it's not, But why are we working so hard for people to like us? I mean, one thing that my mom would always remind me is that everybody's not your friend. And I would just think like, oh, okay. And I mean, it was true. It's true. That's just life.
It is.
And unfortunately, I think for some of us, especially those of us who are people pleasers, and we have to kind of get out of that may be something that we don't realize until later. Because we've always been trying to please so many people, and it's at the detriment of ourselves. And unfortunately, we end up running ourselves down, working so hard, because we'll never do enough for everybody to like us. We'll never do enough even for the people that love us. The people that love you are going to love you regardless. They are not going to care how much you're doing or how much you don't do. Yes, they may prefer things done a certain way. Yes, they may prefer that you do what they want you to do. But at some point, they're either going to love you or they're not.
Yeah.
And so I just believe that working hard is not something we have to do again for the approval of others. It's something that we really need to do. And we don't have to work hard to love ourselves either. You just need to love yourself. Like you said, affirm yourself. Make sure you know that you're worth that. That's how you build up that self-worth. You're exactly right.
Yeah. And I mean, in affirmations it looks different for everybody. You know, sometimes, like for me, I write them down. Like, you know, sometimes I might have them. I journal. So and depending upon the day, sometimes I journal at night. And if I decide to journal at night, my last sentence may be an affirmation to myself. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm reading my journal and I'm, you know, whatever that affirmation is, you know, or I may, you know, leave it in the bathroom or leave it on my, you know, wherever. So that way, you know, it looks different for everybody. Some people may not be as visual as I am, and they may, you know, can just like talk to themselves. You know, they can just like touch their heart and say something nice to themselves, or, you know, or a meditation. So affirmations look different for everybody. Everyone, like I said, everyone isn't visual. So
yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Okay, so here's the one we didn't. Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right, so here we are. We're not going back. We're 35. Let's look forward.
Okay.
To 45. What would your 45 self tell your 35-year-old self?
Sis, it's coming. It's coming.
See that?
It's coming. Everything you prayed for, everything you fasted for, all those tears, all those you know, everything, like, it's coming. Your heart's desires.
Oh my goodness.
It's coming. Like, don't get up, don't give up, don't let up. Like, keep your foot on their neck.
Listen.
Because it's coming. You know? So even though through the dark storms and when you feel like, man, like you feel like you marking time. You're not moving forward, you're not moving backwards. It's coming. Sis, it's coming. That's what my 45-year-old self
is telling me. Oh Lord, hold on. Okay, sis. It's coming.
It's coming.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So how about you? Your 45-year-old self.
Yes. Similar, but see, I like how you said it though. That was good. Mine is hang in there.
Okay.
Hang in there.
Okay.
Don't give up too soon. Because for some of us, we have a tendency to look at the glass half empty more than half full. So it's like, don't give up too soon before the breakthrough comes.
Yeah.
You know, and I would just want to encourage somebody out there, if you're tired, you're weary. I mean, both of us have kind of said that we would tell our 45-year-old self will tell ourselves now, like, just like you said, it's kind of like what you've been waiting on, what you've been praying about is coming. But I definitely think there are some of us who just need to know too to hang on.
Yeah.
Like, hang on for dear life. Like, you about to let go, but don't let go. Just hang on. Don't surrender.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, don't surrender like your dreams and your hopes and your future and everything when it just looks so bleak. Because there are times in our life where things can look so bleak. But if we just like hang on, Like, I feel like kind of similar what you said. Like, everything, like, things can turn in an instant. And it's just like, what just happened?
Right.
What just happened? I mean, that suddenly comes, and it's just like, wait.
In a twinkling of an eye. Like, it could happen.
It can happen.
And you just never know. So, just stay ready. You don't have to get ready.
Right.
And then staying ready, like you said, you got to keep holding on. Like, just that grip, like a tight grip.
Or that tight grip. That's why I had to do my hands literally like that. Because when I was thinking about hang on, I was just like, man, it's like when you see those movies and the person is like hanging from the 15 or 35 story windows, but they just not letting up. Like, you might be hanging out the window, sis, but don't let go. Because help is on the way. Okay?
I like that. Help is on the way. I love it.
The rescue is coming.
Yeah. And it's crazy, well, not crazy, but sometimes when we are at that brink, that point where we feel like we just can't take anymore, like it amazes me how the next 5 minutes or the next day, just something, and it's like, man, I was about to like throw in the towel and say forget this, and had I done that, then this wouldn't have happened. So I like that.
I'm glad we did this video because I also feel like, I mean, we with y'all too, but I feel like we're gonna look back at this at some point, and it's just gonna be like, look at us.
Right.
We used to talk about that anyway.
We used to. We still do.
We used to talk about it more though.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
we both thought by this point we would be married, we had children, so we were.
Just had to check.
It's coming.
Okay, it's coming. It's coming.
Hang on.
Hang on in there.
Hang on in there. Nope, it's coming.
Help is on the way.
It's on the way. We gotta help.
Oh, girl. That help made. What? You better speak that thing.
We are the help.
You right.
Remember that. We are the help, sis. Remember, you are the help.
Yes.
Okay? But I feel like we're gonna look back at this at some point and be like, look at us. I hope so.
Yeah, we are. So. And then not only are we gonna look back at it, but we're gonna have our husbands. But babe, look at this. Look at us. Speak those things. Speak it into existence.
But in the meantime, we're gonna keep working on us.
Definitely. And I think that's important. Yeah. While you're in your state of singleness, like, don't get so caught up on like I told my 25-year-old self, don't get so caught up on this life, the American dream, the house, the husband, the 2.5 kids, the white picket fence. It's, you still have, like, in this moment of singleness, like, work on you. Ooh. So, and that's why, not to, go back to our previous conversation, but that's why I took the opportunity to work on me, to eat right, to work out. Yes. And honestly, my friend, working out is so therapeutic.
It is, my friend.
It's so therapeutic.
It's a mind clearer.
It is. And so not only is therapy awesome, but working out, like, I run anywhere from 5 to 10 miles a day. And when I get in that zone and I'm running, it's a mind cleanser, like you said. My mind is able to just relax and be free, So, in this period of singleness now, I'm working on me, physically, mentally, emotionally, because that's huge. So in every way, so that way, when myself and my Boaz, the man that he has for me, we come together, like, I'm coming to him as a whole individual. Like, I'm not coming to him trying for him to make me whole or for him to make me happy. Like, I'm coming to him, and hopefully wherever he is, he's doing the same thing, because I can't make him happy. No. I want him to come already, like, to the table. Now, granted, we all going to have some issues. That's right. But two whole people together, that's gonna be powerful. Now, I've had some broken.
Because you know what? Because we've been broken. Girl.
Then you gonna make me run. Now you gonna make me run.
Because we were who we needed to be either. That's what it is.
Exactly.
And I think in the singleness and then just reflecting too, it's almost like, okay, yes, there are things I have to take responsibility for.
Yeah.
But, you know, because we chose them just like they chose us.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And so, listen, brothers, I'm not going to knock y'all. It's, you know, we had experiences. We learned through them. We talk about that. We learned through them. But at the same time, we worked on us. We're working on us. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, it is. And something someone told me, like, just stood out to me. You know, it's when two broken people do not make one whole person. So if I'm broken and he's broken, we come together, we still not going to be whole. So that's why it's important for you to, in your period of singleness, to work on you. Like, don't look back, don't look forward. Just live in that moment and be the best version of you that you can be. So whatever that looks like, you know, that's physical, you know, you want to lose 10 pounds or whatever, or if it's financially, you want to clear out these student loans, or if it's emotionally, whatever it looks like for you to be happy, whole, and healthy, then do that in your period of singleness. So then that way, when you do, you know, get in that relationship with the person that God has for you, because not just any relationship, but the person that God has for you, and you get in that relationship, then it's two whole people coming together.
Two whole people.
Yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
that's the way it's supposed to be. Now, I heard too that in relationships sometimes, of course, because issues come up, that at that point, then you are able to work together to heal them. Now, it doesn't mean that we're both coming in broken, like you said, my friend. We're coming in whole, but we're nobody's perfect.
Exactly.
So there are still things that only a relationship will be able to teach us that we need to continue to work on as whole people. But at that point, at least we've gotten to a certain point where we are the best that we can be at that time, and then we're working together. Not we both on one leg, trying to hold each other up.
Like you got the left, I got the right, and we hobbling. Like,
that's not gonna work.
No,
it's not supposed to be like that.
At all.
No. So this is good, my friend.
Yeah.
This is a good combo.
It was. I enjoyed it, and I hope that it is my hope that our conversation like inspires and touches someone else, you know, out there. Because, you know, like I said, you may have this, you know, how you want your life to be at 35. It may not be like that. But, you know, life is still good. You know, life is still beautiful. Like you know, even in the pandemic. You know, you know, life is good and God is good. So, you know, it's my hope, my desire that just us you know, having a organic conversation, because my friend and I talk like this a lot
all the time.
You know, so just us being ourselves and having an organic conversation, like can reach one, teach one, right?
That would be great. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole purpose. I would like to think of my channel is to build young women, like build, and not just, I mean, just women, build you to a point where you feel like, you know, I'm learning, like you said, through your experiences, I'm learning. Cece and Mimi, I'm learning through what you all have been through, and you willing to give to me. So thanks for joining me, my friend.
You're welcome.
Cece and Mimi. I feel like we need a theme show or something. Okay. Anyway, thanks you all. I was like, thanks. Thanks you all for thanks. Just thanks. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Now, we might do this again another time, my friend. I think that would be cool.
I think so too.
Yeah, but definitely, if you like this video, please feel free to press the like button. You can also feel free to comment, and please subscribe. Stick around with me. I think what I'm going to do is I'll unpack some of these topics a little bit more, especially as it relates to singleness. Yeah, I mean, I think it's important for us to know too, like, just biblically, what is God saying about it? But, you know, then we had these girlfriend combos too that's just like off script. So, stick around. We'll be talking a little more. And thank you, my friend, for joining me. Love you, girl.
Love you too.
All right. See y'all later.